fellow viewers, you're once again welcome to another edition of the Shirlma Show. We've been honored today to be in the presence of no other person than Dr. Mrs. Fon, Elizabeth Fon, the CEO of Tesho Family Company, medical doctor by profession. Welcome to the Shirlma Show, Mommy.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so honored to be here today. This is my first time coming here, but I already like it.
Oh, yes. You know, you kind of defy all odds because you got me crying before the show.
Don't tell anyone.
I won't say it anymore. And at the same time, you were actually the first female physics student at St. Bede's College. Please tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so when I was in St. Bede's, that's a long time ago. I'm not even going to tell you how many years. I was doing domestic science while the boys were doing physics, because the boys had to be engineers and doctors and the girls would be housewives, good housewives. So we learned to bake, we learned to make scones, we learned to make cakes. And in Form 3, one of my friends came back from holidays and said the father wanted her to do physics. And she was crying because she couldn't do physics as the only girl. So out of empathy, I told her, don't worry, I'll do physics with you.
Oh,
just to keep her company. And it was with regret, you know, I'll miss the cakes and all those things. So I went to do physics. It was hard, Form 3. We were almost the bottom of the class in Form 3 because, you know, the notions were so difficult. Newton, it was so difficult. But then we kept on. And by second term, we had gone higher. And by third term, we had understood all the logic of physics and so on. First girls to do physics in St. Bede's. And at O levels, we had A grades. To the amazement of the boys, you know, they were like, girls cannot do physics. But then we defied the odds and we did physics and passed.
Talking about defying odds, right? It was not just, it started back then. But even at the Bonasama Hospital, you were actually the first female to carry out a surgical operation. So what was that experience like still?
Well, the thing is that I wasn't the first female to carry out a surgical operation, but I was the first female to be in charge of the theater.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took over from Dr. Tone Fritz.
Okay.
He was transferred to Lakentini. So I now have to direct the surgical team made up of men.
Wow.
So I had to learn how to work with men. Being the boss for men. Wow. It's not easy. Yeah, I can tell you that. It's not easy. It started way back in St. Bede's when they made me the senior prefect, the only senior prefect for boys and girls in a school where you have 3/4 boys. The boys said they'll go on strike if there's no boy senior prefect. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And so I understood very early. I may have been about 16 years old, but I understood that I can't do it alone.
Wow.
We need the men. So I called some of the boys, the ringleaders, and I talked to them. I said, you know what? I don't know why these reverend fathers made me the senior prefect alone, but I can't do it alone. I need you people.
Amazing.
So please, can we work together?
But you're already wise then.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it's God.
Yeah.
Because they were going to go on strike. And the principal had given me charge of the school as the senior prefect. I had to bring peace to the school. I had to get the students to work, get up early, go to work and so on. How would I do it without the boys? I called them. They said, okay, what do you want us to do? So that's how we started working together. And I realized that they did all the work. All I had to do was praise them for the work that they are doing and tell them they are doing a great job. So my job as the senior prefect now was just to come once a month and talk to the students. You needed to see the way I was coming in.
My God.
Oh, the senior prefect is coming. Then I would come in and I would stand up on the stage and I tell the students they need to obey the prefects, they need to do this. That was all
Amazing.
And the school was running well. So when I came to Bonasama as the boss to an all-male team, it was the same principles, you know. Tell them they are doing well. I can be consulting, I will diagnose a cesarean section. I send to the theater while they are preparing the patient, cleaning the patient, shaving the patient, cleaning the patient, draping the patient.
Yeah.
I'll be consulting. Then when everything is said, they come and tell me the operation is ready. I go, I do the operation, get out the baby, stitch the uterus, and so on. When I reach the skin now, I leave the theater nurses to be doing the skin. And it's so funny because men used to come into my office and they'll be, they've told me to come and see the doctor who is operating my wife. Where is he?
Oh, oh.
Where is he?
Oh my
Meaning
God.
that, you know, they didn't believe that a woman can operate. So it's a society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
So as a
imagine.
woman, you need to understand where you are. You need to understand the mentality of the African male child, and you have to understand how to work with them as teammates.
Wow.
Yes.
So, but does it somehow kind of exert a certain level of pressure on you to always be the best, or it's just not?
No, I've always been relaxed there.
Wow.
I don't think I felt any pressure
Wow.
to do anything. Human beings are human beings, and if you treat them right, they'll treat you right too.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's the principle, it's a fundamental principle. You don't have to put it down their throats that you are the boss. Yeah.
So then how do you still maintain that tenderness? Because when I meet you, you're just, in short, you're a lady. You know, you're
I'm
a
a
lady.
mother.
Yeah.
I'm a wife.
You know, and when someone meets you, it's kind of, when I meet you, I just feel like you're my mommy. You know,
Yes,
yeah.
I am your mommy, of course.
For sure you are, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, so how do you maintain that tenderness even in a man's world?
A woman is a nurturer. That's her natural role. A woman is a helpmate. That's her biblical role. We just need to think about that.
Wow.
We carry the babies in our wombs. We bring them forth. We are there when they can't do anything for themselves. We are there when they take their first steps. And when a baby takes the first steps and falls, you don't get up the baby and beat. You get up the baby and you encourage the baby. Don't worry, baby. Tomorrow will be better. You know you'll be okay. The baby starts running and you are there to clap, encourage the baby. That's our role as mothers, nurturers. So if we know about that role, we are helpmates to our husbands, to our brothers, to our uncles. It's not easy to be a man. In this world, it's not easy to be a man. So if a woman can understand that she needs to help these men that God has given us as their helpmates, as their nurturers, they will do great things. And then we will not need to be fighting with them all the time. Because what we see now in society is they're teaching the girls to fight with the boys. What a boy can do, a girl can do better.
Yeah.
If a boy is doing this subject, you too must do it. Like competition. Instead of complementing each other. That is why in the Tesho program, we teach people to complement each other. Tesho means team spirit holistic.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Team spirit holistic.
Team spirit holistic.
Talking about Tesho, you talk about the man being the captain, the
Yes.
wife being the
coach,
coach, and the
yeah.
children being the key players. I just like that concept.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Please tell us a little bit more about this.
Tesho has got inspiration.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was in Bonanjo as the regional coordinator of the 39 centers where they treat people who have HIV and TB. So the cure rate for tuberculosis was so bad. Yes, it was just 60%, meaning that 40% of the people were out there distributing tuberculosis or they were dead. Then they came and did an audit from the International TB Center. And they said, Dr. Fon is not working well in the little. I'd been there only 3 months. But it was Dr. Fon, you know, who was in charge. So when I read that report, I said, I have to do something about it. So I went to the patients and asked them, why are you not coming to take your free treatment? They were like, Dr. Fon, those nurses and doctors, they are very rude to us. They don't receive us well. When we come to the hospital, they just like, hey, ruler. They don't call us by our names. We are just numbers and statistics. That's why we are not coming. So I went back and I had to conceive this stage show program to teach the nurses and the doctors to build team spirit with the patients. Stigmatizing disease, HIV and TB. So you needed to make the patients feel welcome, you know. So that's how I started. While my colleagues were teaching the nurses and doctors to prescribe medicines, I, as the boss, I was teaching them how to build relationships with the patients, because I told them it was more important to build relationships than giving them medications. So I started teaching them. Then I realized that they too, as nurses and doctors, they needed to build healthy relationships from home. If not, if a nurse has fought with the husband, a doctor has fought with the wife or with the husband, how can they receive the patients well? There's no way. So I needed to teach them how to build team spirit from home. That's how Tesho came about, you know, to explain to them in a simple way. Since every Cameroonian loves football, they can understand that to be a winning team, you need to work together. You need to build team spirit. And they started bit by bit, and before you knew it, the Tesho program was born.
Team spirit holistic. Oh, don't go away, because Dr. Fon Elizabeth Fon is still with us. And when we come back, guess what? We'll be looking at psychiatrists, who is supposed to visit the psychiatrist, and we'll talk also about love. Yeah, I said love.
Oh, yes.
If you're just joining us today on the Shirlma Show, we've been in the company of Dr. Fon Elizabeth Fon, a medical doctor by profession and the CEO of Tesho Family Company. Doc, I read one article where you made mention of the fact that people associate psychiatrists with madness, but I think you think otherwise. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the truth is that in Cameroon, if you see a married woman who is having problems in her marriage with her husband, if she gets up and she tells the husband, come, let's go and see a psychiatrist. What do you think the man would?
You scare me, Doc.
The man would say, oh, so in addition to annoying me in this house, you think I'm a madman? So that is why I decided to become a life coach. Yeah, because life is complicated, you know, very complicated. People go to school to learn how to be medical doctors. You go to driving school to learn how to be a driver, but you jump into life without learning anything about it. So I see myself as a life coach. I look at your situation. You are going through stress, serious stress in your relationships, at work, in the family. So I listen to you. I see where you are going wrong. Then I give you the skills that you can use now to overcome your challenges. You are the one doing it. So I'm just like the coach, you know. So I tell people I'm the coach at home, I'm the coach in the workplace, I'm the coach everywhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Doc, assuming that right, maybe I'm stressed. Maybe I just left a 5-year relationship and I'm heartbroken. So who should I see for counsel?
You can go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a life coach, but you should go to someone who will be able to help you overcome that challenge. You don't go to somebody who only pray with you and you don't get out of, or who will tell you that man will come back when the man is never coming back. The man has moved on. And you are in church somewhere praying that the man will come back. And some pastor has told you that the man will come back, you pray that the man will come back. No, you go to somebody, a life coach, who will tell you, you know what, things happen to people. It's about that relationship. It's not about you. Don't take it personally. You know what? Go through the stages of grieving for the relationship. The relationship is dead. Because you start out by denial, and then you move on to anger. That's why you see girlfriends go and fight with boyfriends, wives go and fight with their husbands, husbands fight with their wives' boyfriends, and things like that. Because they're in denial, they're in anger. But you need to move away from that stage. Go to acceptance. When you accept, now you can move on with your life. You start building back your life. Then the life coach will give you the skills to look at yourself, step back, and look at yourself. What are your good qualities? You write them down. What can you do? Because sometimes you're in a relationship where you depend on the other person for financial sustenance, for happiness, for the person to make you confident in yourself. And then after 5 years, the person lets you drop.
Yeah, that's hard.
You break like an egg. That's why they say the heart is broken. But you take the pieces, and a coach, a psychologist, will help you build back the pieces of your life. And your life can be better than when you were with the person. So if you don't have that person, you just wallow in self-pity. You start looking at yourself as if you are not pretty. Because maybe the other person spent his time telling you you are not pretty, you are nothing, you amount to nothing, and you believe them. Because that's the person you love.
That's it.
You know? But then you need a psychologist, you need a life coach to tell you, no, God created you beautifully and wonderfully. Don't believe what they say. Look at yourself. Write down your positive points. You write them down. Say, no, it's not enough. Add some more. Go inside you, look. Add some more.
Wow, amazing.
Yes, so you do that, and before you know it, you start running again in life.
Wow. Doc, you mentioned the fact that, right, we have to start with the grieving before going to acceptance.
Yes.
What if I skip that grieving stage and I move to the acceptance part? What happens to me?
It's difficult because you are still in denial.
Oh.
Yes. Because some people will be in denial for a long time. They will not accept that that person has moved on, has left them. So they are still hoping. Yes, so you need to grieve, accept, and then you move on.
Okay, so now let's look
If you want to cry, you cry. Eh? Okay. It's okay to cry when you have a broken heart. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Doc, talking about, let me say, breakup, right? Now, in a situation where children are involved, so what's the role of the child? I tell you why I'm saying this. So my parents were separated when I was young, right? And I found myself always wanting them to remarry. So somehow I felt like they needed to be together for me to be whole. Like, before I knew it, my dad was gone. So somehow now I kind of look back and I'm like, oh, maybe I would have actually spent my time appreciating the fact that I even had loving parents, because my dad was amazing, my mom is amazing. So what's actually the role of the child when it comes to broken relationships, like when the parents are not together?
You needed to have seen me.
No, don't tell me.
Yeah. No, you needed to have seen somebody who could make you accept your parents' breakup.
Oh.
Because children, when they are delivered into a family, they are not bargaining for their parents to separate anytime soon. Never. Till thy kingdom come.
Amen.
Yeah. That's what parents, children are like. Because the parents are like the pillars that are holding them up. That is why children will read the parents' mood. If you people are quarreling or insulting each other, it affects the children. Because they are afraid. Hey, our parents might divorce and we don't want it. I remember when my parents used to frown at each other and quarrel. I'll go to bed, I will not be able to sleep. I'll be having palpitations because I was worried. So you imagine a child going through the divorce of the parents. It's hard on the children. So the children need somebody to talk to. somebody who understands them. Yes, you want your mom and dad to be together, but adults somehow have differences. And sometimes the differences can lead them to fight, quarrel with each other, even separate. It's not about you. It's not that you did something wrong. There's a book we are writing on reconciliation. It is titled Reconcile No Way. Do you know that there are people who don't know how to reconcile? Yeah. We are talking reconciliation, reconciliation, reconciliation. Even the pastor says reconcile. The Bible says forgive.
How?
70 times, 70 times. Oh, 490 times, not so. But you have people who quarrel, they fight, and they separate because they don't know how to reconcile. They don't know the words to use. They don't know the actions that follow. So you see people who divorce just because they don't know how to reconcile. They don't know non-violent communication. They don't know how to talk about their hurts instead of hurting the other person. For example, a husband might be hurt by the wife, and instead of telling her that, you know, when you insult me in front of the children, when we are together in front of friends and you tell people that I'm a good-for-nothing husband, I feel so hurt inside, like I'm not man enough for you. Instead of saying that, he says, the next time you try and insult me in front of people, I will show you, I will box you. That is violent communication. They've not understood non-violent communication. So people spend time in their marriages hurting each other with their words, with their actions. And a man, when you hurt him with your actions, he's going to box you. Yeah, an African man will box you. In America, he'll kill you.
Oh.
Yeah, Nigerian men have killed their wives in America. Because you don't slap your wife in America, you go to prison. They know that it's the law. You don't slap your wife, you go to prison. So when they are so hurt, they just kill the women. Nobody has taught them non-violent communication. Nobody has taught them expression of hurts. Nobody has taught them how to reconcile, how to move on. Because the woman will always be like, hey, remember that day, 5 years ago, you did me this, you this hopeless man. This. So she doesn't understand that when you forgive, you don't keep remembering, because we women, we remember things. Even me talking to you, women don't forget anything. That's just the way our brains are. God created us different from the men. And so when men understand that their wives don't forget anything, then they can learn to live with these women. They will learn to understand their wives. You get me?
Get you.
Yes. But who has taught men to understand women? Who has taught women to understand men? It's just the outside packaging. Handsome boy. Pretty girl like you. And you think that's like living happily ever after, Cinderella story. It's a fairy tale now. The reality is marriage. We need to learn how to live in our reality.
Oh, please. After the break, more with Dr. Elizabeth Fon. If you're just joining us today on the Shirlma Show, we're in the company of Dr. Mrs. Elizabeth Fon. Doc,
Yes.
what advice do you have for the minority in position of power? Let me say, I take for example, let me say, most of the times I find myself in positions where I'm just kind of like the only female among the men there. And somehow I feel like I need to do something to kind of like let the voice of the other ladies who don't have the opportunity of being in that room be heard. So in that kind of situation, what can I be doing? What am I supposed to do? What's my responsibility?
Just relax. Honestly, relax. We're making a big deal out of this gender thing. You understand? We are just the female. We are completing our men, the males. They need us and we need them. So you don't have to do anything to prove anything to the men because your sisters are looking up to you to show that you are the woman, you are the strong woman. No, we don't need that. We already have so many troubles in this world without having to think that I need to do something because my sisters are looking up on me. Just be yourself.
Wow.
Yes, just be yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll just mention some few words and you tell me what comes to mind.
Yeah.
When you mention women.
Nurturers.
Wow. Oh, amazing. The
Nurturers.
youth of today.
Facebook.
Okay.
Because youth live their lives on Facebook. They don't face reality.
Oh.
Yeah. Really.
Facebook. The future.
It's now.
Wow. Amazing. So we have some questions for you. So you just choose anyone. We want you to answer 3, but feel
Yes.
free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which situations did you realize the value of education in your life?
Okay.
You know what? It was when I went to give a Tesho lecture in one congregation, in a village congregation.
Yeah.
And I met these women. When I talked to them about the Tesho concept, the husband is the team captain, the wife is the coach, the children and their key star players. And I asked the women, what would you do to make your husband the winning team captain? And when these women started talking, they were not educated. When they started talking, one said, it's good to show your husband that you believe in him no matter what. Because they need that to build their self-confidence. And then one said, when you quarrel with your husband, he comes back, he needs you. Because out there is like a jungle. He needs you when he comes home. You have to make his home a place you want to be. And you know, they give all these brilliant ideas. And I'm like, where God? I'm here just because I've been to school. These women have very brilliant ideas. But because they've not been to school, you know, they are remaining only in this village. They could impact the world with what they know. But because I am educated, I'm able to come and talk to them and listen to them. I say, well, God, thank you for my education. Then I thought of my mother and my father, all the sacrifices. I mean, I'm the first of 10 children.
Wow.
Yeah. My father was a primary school teacher. And he decided that he would educate all his children.
Wow.
Plus our sister, who is deaf and dumb, sent her to Nigeria. So my father was so bent on education, to educate 10 children. And all of us have more than a first degree.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I thought about my parents again and I cried. I said, where Papa? Where are you? Where Mama? All the sacrifices, the farm work, the selling of small things to augment our fathers, you know. When your parents sacrifice for you like that, they're not educating you for you alone, you know. They're educating you so that you should think of people in the world who cannot help themselves because they are not educated. So you don't sit in your corner and you just enjoy your life and you're going on in life. I mean, my father is not here today to enjoy of his fruit. Can you imagine what would I not have given my dad? What would I not give him? What would I not give my mother who died some 19 years after my dad? What would I not give her for the sacrifices, you know, for educating us? What would I not give them? But they're not here. So the education is not for me alone. It's for me to, you know, touch other lives, you know. Education is to touch other lives. My father would have done other things with his money, but he decided to. I'm sorry that I'm crying, you know. But when I think of the sacrifices of my parents, thank you. I'm so emotional. educating a child is so important. And I mean, it's not just formal education. Educating a child how to live life. Parenting, for example, bringing up children to feel this confidence in themselves that they can go to school, they get education, then they use that education to impact the world, you know. That is what I call education. Yeah.
Just make me emotional.
And that's what our parents gave us, you know. We should never forget that, because we in Africa, we think education is just the white man kind of education. But those core values that our parents gave us, that's the education too. We always need to remember that. Yeah, always need to remember that. But I'm crying, it's like tears of joy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, tears of joy, because when I think back to what my father always told me, what my mother always told me, you know, as the first child, you have to take care of your brothers and sisters. You have to show them how to behave. And so that's the education, you know. Yeah.
Amazing. Made me think of my dad too.
Yes, makes you think of your dad, all the love, when you think of your dad. And those memories, they always carry us through life, you know. Yes. Nobody can take that away from us. Always in here, in our hearts. That's the good thing about education. Nobody can take education away from you, you know. Yeah? Okay, let me see the next one. Would you choose a partner for your children if you're given the chance to? We have a grown daughter and we have twin boys. Our daughter is named Tina and our boys are named Love and Hope.
Yeah.
I dare not even choose partners for them.
Oh.
Because I think it's the wrong thing to do.
Wow.
Yeah. The only thing is, give your children the core values and let them make their own choices. You really cannot choose. My own marriage is arranged, but it wasn't as if I was choosing for my husband. His uncle came and saw me and went back and told him, I've seen this girl. They tell me she's a good girl.
Wow.
You can go and meet her to see if the chemistry is there. And so that's how we met.
I can imagine.
So you can introduce.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
They shouldn't be kind of like forced.
No, you can't force. You
Wow.
can't force. It won't work. I think it won't work. If they meet and the chemistry is not there, it won't work.
So the
last question.
Yes, please.
As a teenager, where did you wish you were born? In America. Of course.
Oh. Mom, you too.
When we were young,
Yeah.
we used to see this in fine, fine country. And we knew that America was the paradise on earth. So it was when I went to America for the first time I realized that they actually had grass and trees. I thought everywhere was paved. They only had flowers and lawns and, you know.
Oh.
And I wanted to be born in America, probably to a white man, because I didn't even know that whites slap their wives.
Oh no.
Or that they beat their children. I knew that it was a darling, darling, sweetheart, you know. Oh, look, this life is something. America sold us America.
Yeah.
We are not selling Cameroon to our children. Yeah, that's the sad reality. Everybody's always complaining about Cameroon, complaining about our president, complaining about the ministers, complaining about the weather, everything. We don't sell Cameroon to our children. Neither do we sell Cameroon to ourselves. Cameroon is a beautiful country. It's a wonderful place. When you see people from Chad come to Cameroon to buy fruits, they ask if it's an agric show.
Wow.
Yeah, when they see fruits in the market,
Oh.
they ask if it's an agric show. You go, you travel in Cameroon. People are begging you to buy food.
Yeah.
I've been to RDC, Congo.
Yeah.
There's no food. You have money. There's no food. A chicken is 10,000 francs. And we have all of these things. But God needs to open our eyes of faith to start seeing. And like in every relationship, if you don't have gratitude in your heart, you will never, never be happy. Yeah. We need to sell Cameroon to ourselves. Maybe we'll do a Shirlma Show where we just sell Cameroon to ourselves.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, honestly.
I am. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mom.
I've sold Cameroon to my children.
Oh.
They are born in America, but they know that they are Cameroonians. And their best place is the village.
Oh.
Yeah, they go to America on holidays. And they ask them, don't you want to stay? They say, no, our village is better than America.
Wow.
And the Americans, where is that? In Africa, Cameroon.
Wow. Amazing.
Best place on earth. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
No, it's true.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And it was pure joy being in your presence, honestly.
Shirlma,
thank you.
And all the people here, I want to thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
It's so good.
Well, how can people actually get to you? Because I think after listening to this, many people want to get to you. So how can people
It's
reach
easy.
you? Okay.
We have a center in Aqua,
Okay.
California, San Dali. Yeah.
Okay.
The center has been operational for close to 4 years now.
Oh.
But the program, the TESHO program, has been here with us for over 12 years.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And so anybody can call me 673-595959.
Oh.
673-595959 to have an appointment.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, fellow viewers, on today's edition of the Shirlma Show, we were honored to be in the presence of Dr. Mrs. Fon, Elizabeth Fon, the CEO of TESHO Family Company, medical doctor by profession. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, The Shirlma Show. Like, share, and comment. Thank you.